Hey, this is Tyler 4K Equipment, and today I'm going to be showing you how to do a 1-point localization on version 15 Pocket 3. I have a base up on a base post. You don't have to have it on a base post if you're just going to be doing a one-time setup. Just shoot some points. I'm going to have it on a base post just in case I ever want to come back out and shoot in more points. I got my rover here. It's on a rover rod. Got my tablet ready. Everything's set up on here. Then the first thing that you're going to do is get a stake or something like this, or a piece of rebar, put a divot in it or something. Then I just have a stake with a survey pin, pound it in the ground. So this is the first point we're going to go off of. This is going to be just a random northern easting elevation. I'm going to be doing 10,000, 5,100. So if we go back over here and let's start hopping on our software here. So I'm going to hit control, and also before you start doing this, make sure you are on a empty job. So I'm going to go to control here, GPS base station. Then I'm going to do unknown point. Then I'm going to select this box because I want to add my base post to our project once I localize off this one point. So I'm just going to call it base post. So I'm going to hit next. Antenna type, it's going to be Hyper VR. That's the units I have. Make sure you select the right unit that you have. Antenna height, I'm going to leave it at 0 because this is for the base. I'm gonna hit next. So now I'm gonna connect to the Bluetooth. If you hit discover right here, it will search for the Bluetooth devices. So we can hit refresh right here, and it's gonna basically start searching. So my base is gonna be the 162, so I'm gonna highlight it, tap select, next. Then for radio type, I'm gonna have it as TLTO4 plus, format RTCM3.x. Then if I tap configure here, I can connect to my base station and check out my radio settings. And this radio type, since these are the newest versions of VRs, they're going to be this TLTR4 plus. So all these settings look good. I'd recommend using these settings. You can use a different channel, but for like the power protocol, scrambling, FEC, I'd recommend having all these set how they are, because this is just what works best for us. And I've seen the least amount of issues with these. So I'm going to hit set. Also, another thing is you could take a picture of those and just make sure your rover is set to the same. So I'm going to hit next. Also, the format right here, make sure it's RTCM3.x. So right here, you just want to make sure all these boxes that are check marked are check marked. And we're going to hit finish. It's going to connect to our base and make it start transmitting. Base started successfully, tap OK. Now we're going to connect to our rover. So I'm going to hit control, radios, then configure. Now it's going to automatically connect to the rover. Sometimes it'll just pop up just like a Bluetooth page like it did for our base. Just make sure you select your rover. So all these settings match what my base does. So I'm going to hit set. I'm going to tap OK. So in the bottom left, you'll see this little satellite icon. That's green. That means that you're initialized. Also, you can check up right here. That means it's initialized. Everything, all these numbers and everything are looking good. So since we already have our stake and our survey pin, it's pounded in the ground, I'm actually going to first go create my point. So I'm going to hit data, control, then add. So I'm just going to call this CP1. Then for the north, I'm going to do 10,000. Easting, I'm going to do 5,000. Elevation, I'm going to do 100. Then if you tap OK, you'll see that this point is now created. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start going over to my point here. Ain't too far. I want to make sure I put the dip of my rover rod in the divot of that survey pin that's in the stake. Okay, so I'll show you here what it looks like. So here's my rod, my rover rod. It is up on the stake. It's in that little divot in there. You want to make sure that's all good. Then also I got this rod leveled out, which you want to make sure it is leveled out as well. So I'm going to hop back on the screen here. I'm going to tap OK. Then before I measure this, I just want to make sure the measurement count is going to be good for the setup. So I'm going to hit Tools, Measure Topo, then click on Control Point. So if we click on Options here, you'll see our sample count. Just since I'm doing an example, I'm just going to be doing it for 10 seconds. So this setup technically won't be as accurate since I'm not doing it for 60 seconds. But if you're going to change it to, I would really recommend changing it to 60. So you just click here, do 60, okay, apply, just like that. But I'm going to change it back to 10 because that's what I'm going to be using. So I'm going to tap okay, or I'm going to hit cancel, actually, cancel out of that. But since we tapped apply, that means that it saved on there. So now I'm going to hit data, control. I'm actually going to highlight my control point that I just made, the 10,000, 5,100, press edit, go to the WGS 84. Then in the middle right of your screen, you'll see this little location with the signals coming off of it. It's a little icon. I want you to click on that. Actually, before you do that, I want you to use horizontal, use vertical. It's my bad. Then you want to click that location, because if you use horizontal, or you can measure it, then tap, use horizontal, use vertical. I like to tap both of them, then measure it, just because it's easier for me to forget to select them. So either way you can do it. I'm going to tap OK now. So we are green, so we are localized right now. So if we tap OK, we will be able to see where we're at right here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually start measuring control points around the job site itself, because basically it's kind of like a web. Like if you have just one point that you're localized off of, then it'll be accurate, but maybe the farther you go out, it can like slowly make it so you're not as accurate. So if you go around your job site and just go shoot in your own control points, like say one control point in each corner, then I would trust that a lot more than just doing this, going off one point. So what we're going to do is start walking over to the first control point we're going to measure. And it's also nice if you have more stakes in survey pins. So in total, you should have 5 stakes and survey pins, or rebar, or whatever you're going to use. You could also use a scribe, or you could scribe a little X in the ground or something too. But yeah, I'm going to walk over to my first control point, and I'll see you when I get there. Okay, as you can see, I got my rover rod up on my next control point. We just have little pucks in here already, so I'm just going to be using these. But if you're doing it, you just pound a stake in with a little survey pin in it, then you would start, you'd get your rod leveled out. But my rod's all leveled out and everything, so everything's looking good to go. So let's hop on the software here and measure this in. So I'm going to hit Tools, Measure Topo, Control Point. Now I'm going to name this CP2, since this is the second control that I'm going to be measuring in. So now I'm going to tap Measure. So for you, it's going to measure it for 60 seconds. But for me, it's just going to be measuring it for 10 seconds. So we got this measured in, so I'm just going to tap OK here. So as we can see, CP2 is now measured in. So I'm going to start measuring, walking over to my next control point, and I'm going to measure it in. I'll see you when I get there. Okay, so as you can see, I got my rover here. It is up on this puck. It's in the divot. That'd be a stake for you or something else. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start measuring this other control point in. So I'm going to hit Tools, Measure Topo, Control Point, call it CP3. Then I'm going to tap Measure. Another thing why I'm doing this is because it does make your site a little bit more accurate. And also, if that first initial control point that you measured in, that we made the 10,000, 5,100 off of, if that gets wiped out, then you can still use these to relocalize. So it's just very handy to do. So I'm going to tap OK. So now we got our second control point measured in. So I'm gonna walk over to my third one and I'll see you when I get there. Okay, now I am on my third control point here. So the tip is in the divot. My rod is perfectly level. You want to make sure that's level every time you're measuring one of these in. So what I'm going to do now is hit on tools, measure topo, control point, CP3, tap measure. Oh, I'm going to call it CP4. It will not let you create the same point names, or else that would get confusing. Okay, so I'm going to tap OK. So we got CP4, so now I'm going to go and shoot CP5. I'll see you when I get there. So as you can see, I got my last, my rover rod set on my last control point here. It's in the divot. This is a little tack in the asphalt. You can also do that as well. So what I'm going to do is also make sure your rod is level. So let's measure this last control point here. So I'm going to hit tools, measure topo, control point. So I'm going to call this CP5. Then we're going to tap measure, and it's going to start measuring this in. So after we finish measuring this in, I'm going to be pretty confident with the accuracy and everything with it. And we can start measuring like a couple topo shots. So I'm going to tap OK. So we finally got our last control point measured in. So now you have 5 control points that you measured in that should be accurate, and everything should be lining up. So what you can do now is like, if you want to start shooting just topo shots, you know, you can do measure topo shot, measure it in. And as you can see, if we move on, there's a little white circle there. But yeah, that's how you do a 1-point localization. Thanks for watching.